The Nintendo Gamecube launched back in September 2001 for Japan, and a couple months later on November the 18th in North America. Unlucky Europeans wouldn't get their hands on it until the following year, but the wait was well worth it for one of the best looking games consoles of all time, of course. The Nintendo Gamecube is a beautiful, compact piece of kit, as we all know. Using the jack of all trades direction of its competitors, the console concentrated on doing just one thing: playing games well. Its striking indigo colour, or grey depending on which version you had, the big chunky A button on the control, the unique little disc and infamous carry handle on the back ultimately worked against it in an era of slick all-in-one game machines. However, it was a powerful little box that played host to a fabulous library of games. This was one of the last time Nintendo put itself in direct competition with Sony and Microsoft in pure spec terms before changing tack when they released the Nintendo Wii. Today we continue our countdown of the top 50 games ever released for Nintendo Gamecube. This video will focus on positions 20 through 11 based on user ratings. Number 20, Resident Evil, user score 8.64 out of 10. The original Resident Evil was a zombie B-movie classic that cemented the idea of survival horror in the minds of a generation. However, it also had a gloriously dodgy script and goofy characters that the series steered thankfully away from in the subsequent entries. With the remake, Capcom sought to realign the original with the upmarket production values of the later games, and it succeeded on that. A complete overhaul of the PlayStation original, the beautifully repainted static backgrounds still hold up today to produce a moody, evocative version of the Spencer Mansion everyone knows and loves. The game held surprises for veterans who knew the game inside and out, and arguably represents the best of the classic style. Number 19, Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, user score 8.65 out of 10. Often considered to be the weakest entry in the Prime trilogy, Metroid Prime 2 Echoes nevertheless boasts the same brand of explorative first-person action that made the first game such a success. With an increased difficulty and lackluster multiplayer mode, it lost some of its shine for some players, unfortunately. We recommend playing it on the Wii, however, with the added bonus of points controls if the difficulty is an issue for yourself, but make sure you go back and play it on the original, and as well, the sequel to this game is still incredibly good. Number 18, Tales of Symphonia, user rating 8.66 out of 10. The GameCube entry in Namco's Tales series Tales of Symphonia could be fairly described as an RPG for non-fans of the genre. The battle system is active and forgoes the static menus in favour of a multi-line linear motion battle system, which makes things a lot more dramatic for the player. This was the first entry to feature 3D graphics, and although the plot might be a little work today if you're at all familiar with the genre, there's still a lot of love in this one. Number 17, Luigis Mansion, user score 8.67 out of 10. Had it been released now, Luigis Mansion will arguably be lauded for the charming and affectionate genre parody it is, and its short length would arguably be an asset in an area where we have more games than time to play. As a launch title for the GameCube, though it wasn't what Nintendo games were expecting in 2002 after the genre-defining Super Mario 64, which launched on the previous system, the N64. It took a while to be appreciated after the initial bafflement that it wasn't a Mario platformer, but after a 3DS sequel and Luigi's Mansion 3 on the Switch, it's safe to say the original has since received the appropriate levels of love, and it still plays beautifully 21 years after release. Number 16, Mario Kart Double Dash, user score 8.67 out of 10. Your favourite Mario Kart games tend to depend very much on when you first played it, or which one you played the most. This can lead to many conscious debate, however. I personally, again, have wonderful memories of playing Mario Kart Double Dash with the fam. While not overflowing with new ideas, the race was presented as glorious fully 3D models for the first time, and the two-driver gimmick was extremely satisfying and introduced a new layer of strategy as you switch characters juggling items. It also came with some great courses including DK Mountain and Baby Park, the hilariously hectic mini-course. It might lack a certain je ne sais quoi if you're devoted to other entries in the series, but make no mistake, this remains a chaotic karting classic. Number 15, Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader, user score 8.7 out of 10. As a GameCube launch title, this was the technical showpiece which you showed off to your friends. Even today, the game has stunning graphics by standards. The sequel even included the entire game in 2-player mode. While there's no shortage of ways to play in a galaxy far, far away, this is still one of the best arcade-style renditions of the Sega's finest flight-based simulators. Number 14, Animal Crossing. User score 8.74 out of 10. The Nintendo 64 original nailed most of the system's first time out, and this Gamecube port of the Japanese-only release introduced Animal Crossing's pleasant real-time village antics to the West. It's a series that you play a little bit every day, and there's much more easily accomplished on the handheld system, which you can whip out on the bus or take on your lunch break. It's hard to return to a village tied to a home console these days. However, it's hard to return to any previous entry once you become accustomed to the myriad of quality life improvements made in more recent games. Number 13, F-Zero GX. User score 8.76 out of 10. While debate still rages as to whether F-Zero X on the Nintendo 64 or its Sega-developed GameCube sequel, F-Zero GX, is better, I'm sure we can all agree that both games are rather special in their own right. The story mode in the latter helps paint a picture of the F universe, and those cutscenes featuring Captain Falcon and the gang sure add some pizzazz. The series also certainly never looked better than this GameCube entry. The breakneck speed and brutal difficulty might put some people off, however, racing doesn't get much purer than this one. Number 12, Skies of Arcadia Legends. User score 8.77 out of 10. A port of the Dreamcast original, Skies of Arcadia Legends was made by Sega Studio Overworks and was billed as a director's cut of the turn-based JRPG. With minor improvements across the board, Skies of Arcadia made exploration a central part of the gameplay, as opposed to other games in the genre. Fans have been calling for a modern remaster of this great adventure for a long time, although it's unfortunately failed to materialise. Until it does, the GameCube is the best way to revisit Arcadia. Number 11, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. User score 8.85 out of 10. The first home console Fire Emblem to be released in the West, GameCube's Path of Radiance introduced us to Ike, leader of the Grail Mercenaries. The game was the first in the series to feature fully 3D graphics and feature one of the strongest stories of any game in the series. Ike would go on to join the fight in Super Smash Bros. Brawl and gain notoriety there before returning to the Wii sequel of this game, Radiant Dawn. Unfortunately, these home console Fire Emblems aren't too easy to find these days, with both of them still exclusively to their original hardware and fetching eye-wateringly prices on second markets, eBay. By modern standards, Path of Radiance is lacking somewhat when it comes to presentation, but I'm sure a lot of people would welcome a remaster. Okay, so that's it. A look at 10 more of the best Nintendo games of all time. So if you enjoyed, don't forget to push the like button, comment down below, of course subscribe to the channel. For my Twitter and Instagram links down below as always. Of course, we are partnered with TubeBuddy. First link in the description for your YouTube needs, tag tarts, thumbnails, all that good stuff. So that's what you need help with, like I did, especially on tags. Head down, join TubeBuddy today, and trust me, you want to hear what I'm about it. And of course, we're partnered on Chelsea. If you want to hit down below and hit that join button to support myself on the channel and get a huge range of benefits, be greatly appreciated. Of course, you never have to, but if you don't, you have to subscribe and watch the next video. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I've been Next Arcadia, so I'll see you again very soon.